Long balls on morning kick around here for March 5th. Long balls where we kind of kick around the news of the day. So there is CONCACAF Champions Cup to discuss. There were multiple
Ooh.
MLS sides in action last night. There's some games today and even one on Thursday. So Cincinnati drew and LAFC cruised. Any takeaway from these leg one matches here in CCC competition?
Yeah, I mean, let's focus in on Cincinnati because they obviously have a Mexican side in this
Tigres.
round of the
Tigres.
competition. Yes, UANL Tigres, UANL Tigres. One of the massive clubs of North America, right up there with Monterrey and Club America for spending power and their ability to win trophies. And Columbus didn't do enough. They just didn't do enough. They took a lead, good goal, but they weren't able to make it stand up, and they weren't able to add. It was one of those games that was back and forth. It's another one of those games that proves MLS can compete with a big Mexican club most of the time. But what happens when they go back to Monterrey? What happens when they go down to Mexico?
So many times these Mexican teams on the away leg, they just stay in it and then just, cruise when they go home.
Exactly. What happens in the home leg for the MLS team is something like this, or maybe it's a 1-goal loss for the Mexican side, and then they go down to Mexico and they hammer the MLS team, or they just win, right? They win outright and kill the tie. And I can't say that I don't expect that from Cincinnati. I wish I was expecting something different. I know Evander also came off in that game with a knock, so there's some doubt about that. So I don't know. I mean, in terms of Cincinnati, they have some weapons. They are generally good defensively, although it didn't show up in Philadelphia. So there you go. Okay. As for LAFC, yeah, look, MLS versus MLS, not quite the same Columbus team that they've had the last couple of years with Cucho Hernandez gone, et cetera, et cetera. So for LAFC to stake their advantage going back second leg in Columbus, I would expect LAFC to advance. And I think we were probably thinking that was going to be the case anyway. I think everybody had it shaded towards LAFC to begin with. As for what's coming up next, who has any faith, even against a Costa Rican side in Herediano, who has any faith that the Galaxy are going to do much in this competition? I don't. Their first leg is tonight in Costa Rica. So if the Galaxy are going to have any hopes and dreams of advancing, Rob, they need to do okay down there in Costa Rica. Seattle will host Cruz Azul in their first leg in their matchup, and they need a win. They need to do what Cincinnati could not do. They need multiple goals to take down with them to Mexico when they face Cruz Azul in Mexico City, because that's the only way they have any real hope. We have a Super Clásico in this tournament as well, don't we? We have the Chivas Club America matchup, which if you're, obviously we're focused on MLS a little bit, but if you're just a football fan in this part of the world, you should be trying to pay attention to that, because that game's always on, always intense. We also have Vancouver and Monterrey. That one's tough, right? Monterrey's another one of those monsters in CONCACAF. First leg in Vancouver this evening. They need multiple goals. I think Miami's going to be okay. They're going to be okay. Play tomorrow, right, Rob? Is that right?
They are playing tomorrow, hosting Jamaican Cavalier in Fort Lauderdale on Thursday night. I'm curious how the seeding went for this, because we had some MLS on MLS action last night with the LAFC and Columbus, and we got Chivas and America playing. You think maybe those Chivas versus America could have been something maybe in the later rounds, kind of a big billing matchup there?
I mean, it would have been. I think that would have been preferable, obviously, but it's a tournament, right? We're watching Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid play in the round of 16 in the Champions League, the UEFA Champions League.
I gotta say, sometimes it's a little bit of a tangent, but how beautiful were the goals in that Madrid derby in the Champions League? That is what Champions League is all about in the European side. 3 goals, and they were all, you could send those home to your mom to show her that this is what a beautiful soccer goal looks like. But on this side of the world, plenty of action. I always enjoy a good late night kickoff. Sounders and Vancouver both kicking off at 10:30 Eastern time, so you can watch, all the way until you go to bed tonight.
I might be already in bed. We'll see what happens. As for just because you mentioned it, if Seattle gets past Cruz Azul, which is a massive task for Seattle, they get the winner of Chivas and Club America. So that's your reward. If you're going to win it, if Seattle's going to be the next MLS team to, the only one besides themselves to win this competition, then they're going to have to beat two monsters of Mexican football. And it's possible that even if they do get through Cruz Azul and either Chivas or Club America, that they will face off against Tigres in the semifinal round. So, I think if you go back and look at the way that Seattle did it last time, there were some kind draws along the way, kind matchups along the way. This will not be that. This will be an absolute gauntlet for them.
A good little note here from Brooks in the chat. I'm not sure if you put this one up already, but LA Galaxy struggling without Ricky Puig shows that how much he was helping the Galaxy, and furthers his credentials for possible MLS MVP in a Messi-less Major League Soccer. Ricky Puig, MVP, right?
Yeah, we miss Ricky Puig. Certainly, Galaxy do, and they sold Jolich to Kansas City. They reworked that roster. They don't look the same. Mark Delgado left for the other side of town in Los Angeles. That's a big don't underrate that as a change in that Galaxy midfield. So whereas can Marco Royce do it? Gaston Brugman, all this. Gaston Brugman moved on to Nashville. My apologies. They moved on to Gaston Brugman, who had to step up in the playoffs last year. So, yeah, what an interesting time for the Galaxy to be in this competition. And another reminder why it's so hard for MLS teams to win this thing. Because they have to do what the Galaxy did in many cases. Win a championship, have a great season, look like the best team in the league or one of them, and then they look decidedly different when they hit the next CONCACAF Champions Cup campaign, and it makes it much more difficult.